Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I would like to actually rank the Wednesday characters and get that done. So, first off, we have the fuck you tier. The worst character is Xavier. He's a whiny little bitch, crybaby, loser character. I hate everything about him. I hate the fact that he's supposed to be like this sympathetic outsider character, but then they cast this like pretty boy Instagram model who just looks like a jackass, like rich guy type of persona. Like there's nothing about him that I like at all. I just hate everything about him. I wish that the character would erase from the earth because like I hate it. I hate this character so badly. And then next up would be Joseph Crackstone. This character, it's too bad because I was looking forward to seeing when they resurrected him, I was looking forward to seeing like how he would adjust to the modern society and how he would like, I don't know, like, he just wasn't very much of a character. He was just a bad guy. He was just like a Lord Voldemort character that they brought out. He's got powers, and that's that. He was the least interesting villain. But he looked really cool. I liked the hat and everything, and the way that he looked when he was resurrected. I thought he looked very creepy and cool. Next up is the long-haired guy who wanted Morticia. This is another villain where, like, he could have been, I guess, a little bit of an interesting character, but his story was just kind of like generic love triangle stuff where he was really in love, and then his dad pressured him into doing something really bad, and he was also poisoned, and so he's bleh. Not that great of a character, honestly. Like, really not interesting enough. And there's just nothing about him, like, seriously. Like, everything about him I just do not care about. And next up is the mayor's son. This character, like, this character, like, at first, he's just a bully. He's one of the bullies in the bully group. And then they try to make him, like, likable for some reason. And that's something really weird that I noticed. And I'm not going to say why because, I think you can figure out why. But it was really weird because both him and the head siren girl, I can't remember her name, both of them, they were bullies and villains. But for some reason, like, they got a pass. And they both were, like, treated like they're sympathetic characters, and they're not really bad like the other people. So, like, I really didn't like his character. He was just really uninteresting and terrible, and I really didn't see why they were pushing his character at all. I mean, I guess, in a way, it's, like, good because him and that other girl fit together because they're both bullies. And they both, evil belongs with evil, And then at the top of the fuck you tier, I have the siren's mother. It's really weird because, like, that whole storyline was just like a throwaway, rushed story, of like where the siren's like, my mom never comes to anything, and then all of a sudden she appears there out of nowhere in episode 5, and she's like, I want you to come home, and if you don't, I'm going to fuck your shit up. And expose that you snuck your way into the school. And then the siren promises that by the end of the year, she will come home. But we know that's not going to happen, or we know that something big is going to happen with that, but it's like, who cares? Like, I don't even fucking care. Like, get rid of her now. Like, she's a mean girl. I don't like her character. That whole thing with her and Xavier, like, who gives a fuck? And on top of that, the mom, she was treated like she was going to be some, like, big character, and then she just drops off the face of the earth. And now we're in the dumb and dull tier. Now, this girl who's painting, I think she's painting something Oh yeah, she's painting the project with Enid. I really can't remember her character at all. Anything about her. She's got sunglasses. Like, that's the only thing that I can see about her character. And by the way, you know something really weird? I have literally just been sitting here eating lunch, and somehow my shoe untied itself. You know, my right shoe. Like, I literally didn't do anything. I didn't, like, move my feet around so that maybe one shoe would untie the other. Like, I was really, like... It was really funny because it was just so random. I looked down and it was like all untied and everything, and I was like, what the hell? So anyways, that was random, but who cares? Next up, we have Enid's mother and father. These characters were barely even there. I mean, they were like footnote characters. If I've ever seen footnote characters, the dad, like, he didn't say one word the entire episode until the very end, where he just supported his daughter. So I put him a little bit higher than the other one. But yeah, like, I don't know what they were thinking with this. Like, the parents, like the mom, she was really unlikable. She's trying to force her daughter to do something that she doesn't want to do and everything. And the dad is just like a robot, you know, like. And then next up, we have the pretty boy guy, random guy who Enid is with. This character is another pretty boy Instagram model guy that they got for the show. He's got no character at all. He just exists so that the pretty boy can be with the pretty girl, which is exactly what we wanted on, the Addams Family spinoff Wednesday. You know, a show about outcasts and people who don't fit in with society. We wanted the pretty boy and the pretty girl, you know, as if we don't get that enough in every single movie and TV show that exists nowadays. And there's nothing about his character that I like at all. In fact, well, no, I'm not going to change that because oops. Next up, we have the head siren. She's a bully. She's a mean girl. Her story is boring and uninteresting, you know, where she's like mad that Xavier likes Wednesday. And then, like, even when she quote unquote turns good out of nowhere, in the finale, she tells on Wednesday, which makes it so that Tyler is able to get free again, which is sad because, you know, Wednesday, she was going to end it right then and there. She was in the middle of torturing him into finding out the truth, and, like, she screwed that up for Wednesday. So, like, just F this girl. Like, seriously, like, I can't stand this modern trend of, like, you have these certain types of villains, and because there are these certain types of villains, they get, like, a free pass, and they get all the sympathy cards that they get played. And then you have a villain like Joseph Crackstone, and it's like, oh, he's just pure evil, and he's the most evil of all evils, and he's got nothing else to him. It's like he's got no humanity, he's got no character, he's just evil guy. Next up in the Dumb and Dull is Uncle Fester. I hated this portrayal of Uncle Fester. I really didn't like how silly he was and how dopey he was. He was like a cartoon character. I have nothing good to say about his character. And next up is the sheriff. This guy was a dummy. I mean, he was just a dummy cop the whole season. The actor was really good, though. I thought that he did a good job. But, like, this character, the whole season, he's exactly like you usually see in these movies and shows where you have the dumb cop who doesn't know anything. But at least he does kind of trust Wednesday at certain points. But then it just kind of backfires and it just kind of goes back and forth. And it's like, F this guy as well. He could have been a much better character. In fact, I will move him to the have potential tier at the very bottom. And now in the had potential tier, next to the sheriff, we have Enid. At first, I kind of liked this character. I liked how Wednesday was forced to stay with this girl who was like the exact opposite of her, and you know, how colorful she is and everything. And I just really thought she was like a nice, good person character. But then they ruined her. They really ruined her character because, like, she friend zones Eugene and basically doesn't treat him like he exists. And then she's really in love with that pretty boy guy. And it's like, this character is like a character who should be like elsewhere. Like, this is not like an outcast character here. This is like a typical, like, regular girl character that you could find at any high school, where she friend zones like the good guy and then she dates the pretty boy guy who's like a superficial loser. You know, like, I really just don't like the character after that point, after what she was like to Eugene. You know, they treated it like there was this, like, love triangle, but she didn't even, you know, give a fuck about Eugene. Like, even when he went into a coma, and he could have been in a coma forever, she didn't even, like, care at all, basically. So I didn't like her character after that point. And the biggest thing that pissed me off, and I really like the aesthetic of her character. You know, she is kind of an aesthetic character where, you know, they designed her knowing that people would be like, I want to be like Enid for Halloween. I want to cosplay like Enid. You know, like, that's why they created that character in the first place, I believe, is because they knew that she'd be the exact opposite of Wednesday, but you want to dress up like her, you want to have your room colorful like her, but her character is really trash after a certain point. But the biggest insult is, like, near the end of the show, I really liked the fact that, like, Wednesday was pushing everyone away because, like, she was getting her business done and she was getting the mystery solved. She was kicking ass and taking names, and she just said, fuck all these bitches. Like, she just did not care, and I love that. Like, that's so refreshing to see. Well, you had this storyline where Enid was really upset that Wednesday almost got her killed, so Enid is gonna go stay in Yoko's room. Wah! I'm gonna go stay in Yoko's room because I can't handle it. Wah! Like, just F you, Enid. And I was so glad that, like, Wednesday never said, like, I'm so sorry, Enid. I wish you would stay with me. Wah! You know, like, I'm so glad that Wednesday just said, fuck you then. Fuck you. Get out then. I've got stuff to do. I'm trying to stop murders from going on. I'm trying to save the school from being burned down and everyone being killed. And you're just this selfish little biatch who's like, I'm really upset that you caught me in danger. I just can't stand that. You know, like that whole thing with her moving out of the room. I was like, yeah, bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Like, fucking Wednesday needs the room to herself. She's got work to do. She doesn't need you. And then next up we have, so had potential I put for Enid because they didn't have to ruin her character. You know, they could have had it where she was in love with the pretty boy at first, and then she realized that Eugene was actually the best guy in the school. But they didn't do that. They said, fuck you, we're going to do the pretty boy and the pretty girl. And so I say, fuck you, Netflix, fuck you, hard. And next up we have Pugsley. Pugsley is like a footnote in this series. Like, what does he get to do in this season 1? He gets to get bullied, and then Wednesday has to stand up for him, so that's kind of, I really, it just makes Wednesday a much better character as usual. Everything is like, Wednesday is the best, everyone else sucks. But then, what else does he get to do? He gets to go fishing with Dynamite. That's all he gets to do this season. He is a footnote of a character, and he could have been so much better. And I really hope that in season 2, he gets like more than 5 seconds of screen time. Because one dynamic that we don't really get to see like hardly at all is the sister-brother dynamic between her and Pugsley. You know, like, I felt like a sister-brother dynamic was more with Wednesday and Eugene. Because Enid didn't care, you know. So next up in the Have Potential is Rowan. This character, he comes on, and he's like a dead ringer for that guy from, what was that one movie? Rushmore? Or, yeah, I think it was Rushmore. You know, the guy with the glasses. You know, like, he looks exactly like him, and he even kind of acts like him, too, so it's kind of creepy. But this character has, like, these incredible powers, and he thinks that Wednesday is going to destroy the school, and so he's, like, trying to stop her in the first or 2 episodes, and then he gets fucking killed. I think it's the first episode, actually, yeah. But, like, this character, they needed to have somebody else who had his powers or something, because like his powers could have been very helpful, and it was also kind of frustrating that he died not even learning the truth. So, you know, he comes on really strongly, he almost kills Wednesday, and then suddenly, bye-bye, he's gone. But he was kind of a little twerp too, so yeah. And then at the top of the Have Potential tier is Miss Kimbot. She's a very unique looking woman. You know, she's very pretty, and I thought she was a cheerful, nice character, and she was also a red herring. And she was a pretty good red herring, but it's pretty frustrating the fact that she was not really able to break through to anyone in the season. Like, she wasn't. It would have been nice maybe if she had left a good impact on one character or something, because like it really seemed like she was kind of a shitty psychiatrist, because she didn't get anything accomplished at all this season. She got fucked up, you know. Like, even with the whole family thing, I was kind of looking forward to seeing like the whole family have like a long like scene with her, and then they just start arguing and they leave. And I was like, "Aw." You know, I guess that would be how I would describe her character. Aw. So now we have the Had Good Moments tier. At the bottom of the tier we have Miss Thornhill. Christina Ricci, ironically being the villain of Wednesday Season 1. A very, very cool choice. I really like that, although now she'll never be on the show again, which sucks as well. Because it was nice having her on the show with the main Wednesday as well. But this character, she was actually a pretty decent villain. She was a surprising villain. I was not expecting for her to be the bad guy. She was really, really evil, and she was really kind of pathetic, too. The way in the finale, she just bends over backwards for Joseph Crackstone, only for him to say, "Be gone, woman, or else I'm going to cut thy tongue out." And it's like, her character, like, I guess she's just an evil pawn in his game, but, like, she was a much more interesting villain than him. And, you know, I liked her. You know, it's Christina Ricci. She always does a good job. Next up, we have Morticia and Gomez. I did not want to put these characters in the Dumb and Dull tier or the Have Potential tier, because I do think that they both had a couple of good moments, I guess. Like, the dad, he kind of felt like a dad who's, like, been there, done that with everything. And he's just kind of like a badass who is like, kind of retired from being a badass. Like, you know, in his flashback era, you see him and he's more like the the Gomez that you saw in the original movies, the 90s movies, I mean. But now he's just like, he just sits around at home with Morticia and has sex with her. And then Morticia, she's kind of helpful to Wednesday a little bit, but as I said in the review, we need to actually be convinced that this Addams family is an Addams family, because I don't believe them as the Addams family at all. They're very superficial. Next up is the principal. I gotta say, like, she's probably one of the top sexiest characters in the season. I really liked her character because she's another kind of aesthetic character where you could see girls like wanting to dress up like her. The only issue that I had was that she had this really strong power of shape-shifting, and she was kind of cool, and she had some really good scenes where she was having a back and forth with Wednesday, and I thought that it was really cool that she helped her in the finale, and then she gets killed, and it's like, oh, that was actually a really sad and surprising death. I was not expecting for that character to die at all. But she is the typical character that you see in like these young protagonist movies where the young protagonist gets in trouble and then they get scolded by this character, and then they do something else risky and then they get scolded by this character. Like that happened like every single episode, like this whole season, basically. And I think that she deserved better. But I still thought that she had some good moments and I liked her character. And next up we have Goody Addams. I liked it how in the finale she helps out Wednesday and heals her. I liked the fact that, she's trying to guide Wednesday. She's trying to help her train her powers, and she's trying to be there for her. But I would also say, even though she had good moments, she had potential, because I was really looking forward to seeing her train Wednesday's psychic powers with her. And instead of seeing that, we just saw these love triangles the whole season. And then in the finale, she says that if I help you this one time, you'll never see me again. And I thought, that's terrible. Like, I want to see Goody Addams again. Like, her character's awesome. She defeated Joseph Crackstone back in the whatever hundreds. And she comes back in the present to help Wednesday. Like, that's cool. And at the top of the good moments tier, I have Thing. Thing was awesome. He was a great sidekick character. I really thought that they did a good job with that. I was glad that, he had a lot of funny moments too. A lot of cool moments. Like, I really loved when he kept on giving people the middle finger and everything. But when I was watching The Thing, I kept in mind that, like, they had a real guy who was, like, walking around and acting. And it was kind of interesting to watch it with that perspective, because some of the stuff, like, it felt like this was probably really hard to do, to play this character, where it's just, his hand that's going to be shown. And I really think that he did a good job with that character, and he was one of the more likable characters in the show. And I do think that that's kind of embarrassing, because he's not even a character, he's a hand. He's a fucking hand. He doesn't have eyes or a mouth or anything. And yet he was better than most of the characters on this show. And I would just say that's a testament to the writing of the show. So, now we are in the near perfect tier. This is the tier of characters where I really like these characters a lot, and I'd like to see more of them. You got Eugene. Eugene was cool as fuck. At first, he's kind of like a nerdy side character, but he's actually like a really good-hearted person. He's a lot like Enid. he's basically the male Enid, and I really like the fact that he's nice to Wednesday, and he doesn't, he's never really pushed away from her because, you know, he's in a coma for half the season. So, but he's always on Wednesday's side. He trusts Wednesday, except for the time at the dance where he was heartbroken. And so that's the thing, is you really, really empathize with Eugene because he gets heartbroken. And then Wednesday, she ends up going to the dance even though she didn't want to. And then she said that she wasn't going to. And so, like, you know, you could really feel for Eugene. And then he gets in a coma and he still doesn't get any action. And it's like, oh, isn't that a terrible raw deal that he got? He got a shitty deal for sure. And then in the finale, after he wakes up out of his fucking coma, 2 seconds later, he's like, bye-bye, Mom, I'm going to go help Wednesday because I'm a hero and I'm not going to be like Enid and just care about the pretty boy guy. I'm going to actually, like, help Wednesday and accomplish something on the show. And so, like, you know, he would definitely be one of the best characters of this season. I would really like to see more of him, and I'd like to see him get cooler and better. You know, he's also kind of like the Ron Weasley of the show. I guess you could say that Wednesday is like Harry. Obviously, she's a lot more attractive. because, and then Enid, I guess, is like the mean girl version of Hermione, which I didn't know existed. And so next up in the near perfect here, we have Tyler. This character, you know, the actor, he was such a terrible character in Your Honor. You know, on that show, I wanted him to die. I wanted him to go bye-bye. I was really just like, you know, F that character. He's so stupid and idiotic. But on this show, he's a really, really likable character. He's nice to Wednesday. He treats her well. He trusts her for the most part. He's really good to her. He's got great chemistry with her. He's a great villain, too. He ends up being one of the villains. And he is by far the most interesting villain because he's just, at the end of the day, he's this teenager who's been manipulated and been used by this woman. And so, like, he's, like, basically the second most interesting character on the whole show. And, like, I couldn't get enough of him. I was glad when Wednesday said, fuck you to Xavier. And she would, you know, hang out with Tyler instead. And obviously, the best character of the season is Wednesday. Duh! You know, like, that's like, when you have these lists, like, when you have, like, let's say, The Office. If you have an Office list where Michael and Dwight aren't at least in the S tier, then you're doing something wrong with yourself. You know, you should evaluate your life and think about your existence, because, you know, the main character, they should be the best character, because that's why you're watching the effing show. You're watching the show to see that character first and foremost. And Wednesday Addams is badass. She's awesome. She defends her friends and family. She always holds the truth as first and foremost of importance. The dress that she wears in the dance and the whole dance that she does is just iconic. I mean, when she was in that dress, I was like, wow, that is really like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do what I was gonna do for American Horror Story Cult. Okay, I'm doing it live right now, right in front of you guys, because I want you guys to bear witness to this. Because when I saw Wednesday Addams in that dress at the dance, I was like, there is only one option for that. And that would be wifey material. Okay, like, that dress was so good looking, and I was like, it was so awesome. Like, instead of wearing, like, one of these, you know, colorful dresses like she was expected to, she wears this vintage, like creepy looking, cool dress. Like, it's so awesome. Definitely one of the best dresses I've ever seen. You know, I mean, definitely one of the best wardrobes I've ever seen on a show. It was so awesome, and her character, I love the fact how she didn't care about anyone if they got in her way. You know, like, especially in the finale, when she knew that Tyler was the bad guy, and she did not let anyone change her mind, and she did not let anyone stop her from getting to the truth of this mystery. And also, she was very smart. She was very strong without calling herself a strong whammon at all in the show. And yeah, and she defeats the bad guy at the end, so yeah. She's a great character. She actually has to suffer through things instead of just getting handed everything like all the other female characters in modern TV and movies. You know, I mean, she dies in the finale. She dies. And then she's brought back to life. You know, you can't suffer more than that in a show or movie. Like, you know, she's been through it. And then, yeah, I can't wait to see season 2. And that has been my ranking. So please like this video and comment and tell me how you would rank the characters, because I know obviously everyone else has like The Thing and Enid in the top tier, and I'm sorry, but that's just not going to happen for me. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest videos like this. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon for Hell's Kitchen.